there's been talk about the NBA's opening night being a complete disaster, at least from some sports writers. And one well-known sports writer, Jason Whitlock, pretty much went in on the NBA in their failed opening night. And he made a comparison. He said that the WNBA is superior to the NBA. And he broke it down. Now, when you first hear it, it sounds crazy, right? You're like, are you kidding me? Because at first when I saw the headline, I was like, there's no way he's really serious about it. Maybe just trolling us. But if you follow Whitlock on social media, which I had to go back and look on some of his social media pages, like his commentary on the WNBA of recent, and he's not really coming off as trolling. I think he's making a good point. Like, obviously, the NBA players are more superior physically, athletically, and more talented than the WNBA players. But what he's talking about is the superiority with the WNBA players hustle, like they want to play. They're trying to play hard. They're just not as talented. They're just not as good, obviously. But they're at least putting in the effort. While the NBA guys are slacking. They're getting paid $10, $20, $30, $40 million a year, and the product is not the same as it used to be. And that's where he's really going with that. So let's listen to Whitlock. This is a long video. I'm going to play the audio because we can't play the video because some of the parts of the clip is copyrighted. But let's listen to Jason Whitlock's opener on his previous episode, like a couple episodes ago. I think this was like Tuesday or Monday. And he's going to talk about why he believes the WNBA is superior to the NBA. He's going to bring it around. So let's listen to this. And we'll put the link of his full episode podcast in the description if you want to watch the full thing. But I just thought this beginning was so interesting because it was kind of what we always talk about, like with the NBA lacking and not being as, competitive as it was years prior. The league has gotten weaker. It's just not it's not a good product. And when you're comparing it now to the WNBA, that's bad for the NBA. Not so much because the WNBA is gotten better, it's because the NBA has slipped. And let's listen to this.
Let me go straight to the point. The WNBA is superior to the NBA. Let's look at the chat. Oh, here we go again. What is Whitlock's gone crazy? No, I haven't. I watched as much as I could of the Lakers and the Timberwolves. I've already forgotten who did the Celtics play? The Knicks. The Celtics played the Knicks and blew them out. I watched as much of that as I could. I watched the pregame show with Kenny, Charles, and Shaq and Ernie. I tried to take it in. Hey man, they've ruined this game. Butter, you seen the movie The Godfather?
Yes.
You know the guy. Don Corleone, when Sonny gets killed, he takes him over to who drives the hearse? The mortician. Takes him over to the mortician, and they wheel him in and they unveil Sonny after he's been shot up. Look at how they massacred my boy. Look at what they did to my boy. I don't want his mother to see him like this. That's how I felt last night. I am an NBA fan. That was my first love. Basketball. My father used to take me and my brother to ABA Pacer basketball games at the Indiana Fairground. Darnell Hillman and his afro, my favorite player. Good Lord, when Magic Johnson and Larry Bird were going at it in the NBA, you couldn't pry me away from a TV. I loved Magic Johnson, and I loved watching him compete in the NBA. I loved watching him take on Larry Bird and Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan. Basketball has been my thing, my favorite sport. Yes, I know the most about football, Yes, football more aligns with my worldview or used to, but basketball was my thing. And look, this has been going on for years.
Yep.
But my goodness, they opened up the NBA season with 2 games and they shot 162 three-pointers. 162 three-pointers in 2 games.
Yeah, that's a lot of threes. I mean, this is a new NBA now. And I remember even watching the Celtics game when, like the Celtics Knicks game, and the Celtics was trying to break the record. They pulled all the starters out. The backups was playing because they were blowing the Knicks out. And they missed like 10, 12, 13 threes to end the game. They couldn't even hit a three after tying the NBA record. They couldn't even complete the task and get over the hump. But even before that, like even during the game, while the Celtics was dominating the Knicks on the offensive side of the ball, the Knicks was still shooting 50% for most of the game. Like I kept hearing them, the commentators like, well, the Knicks are down by 55, but they're still shooting 52% from the field. Like they weren't down by 55, but you get what I'm saying. I'm exaggerating. But like they just kept bringing that up, and I'm like, damn. Because like what's going on here? Like no defense is played. Now Celtics did play defense in stretches. Like they were like they did play defense, but it wasn't, no one was playing defense as a whole. Like everyone was just hanging out outside the 3-point line, and the Knicks are playing catch up, so they come down throwing up threes, uncontested. They can't hit them, but it was just it was just a bad game of basketball. Like obviously, if you're a Celtics fan, you love the opening night ring ceremony. You blow the Knicks out, you know, New York team rival. You blow them out on ring night. You love it. So if you're a Celtics fan, you love it. But if you're a basketball fan, not a fan of the Celtics, just a basketball fan, and you like watching competition, that was kind of hard to watch. And I don't know about the Laker game, because after that game, I was like, I'm not watching the second game. I turned it off. I went about my business. I was like, I'm done for the night. And I know the Laker one was the big Bronny, Laker T-Wolves, Bronny, and LeBron. They was waiting for them to get in the game together. I checked out before the game started. I was like, I'm gone. Because it's just unwatchable. And that's not good when your opening night is that bad. Now, no one will admit this, of course. Basketball fans across the country will not admit this because they can't. This is like, you know, and we all know the NBA really starts after Christmas. So maybe that might be part of the reason why we lost our lust for opening night. And they're going to have this NBA tournament coming around the corner, stuff like that. But let's listen to Whitlock. He's going to give some more about this breakdown of the WNBA, how he's going to, you know, bring it around. Play it.
The Boston Celtics shot 61 three-pointers last night. Hey, I get the Steph Curry effect. I get the analytics. They've destroyed the game. And here's what the WNBA has over the NBA. If you really watch this game, and if you're not just following for your fantasy sports, if you're not just following for the point spread, if you love this game and just want to watch for the competition, the competition's not there. The NBA players do not care. You can see it in their style of play. Those 2 games were competitive all-star games. Everybody's an all-star in the NBA because everybody's making a ton of money. Everybody's walking around like they're the king of New York, the king of whatever city they're in. They're all making millions and millions of dollars. So they're all all-stars in their own mind. They've all, they're all little individual businesses and corporations. They don't care about the game. They don't care about the competition. And you can see it, you can sense it, you can feel it if you watch the game. And if you have, again, if you're old like me, and if you remember what the game used to be about, what it used to look like, everybody knows this.
He's right. And this is not new. Like many people have sounded alarm on this, like especially people, like some basketball fans. And we always get drowned out by this league is better today. The guys jump higher, they're faster, they could do 360s and all kind of stuff like that. And so we get drowned out. We get called haters or whatever. But he's making a good point, especially about the fact of the competition. Like, guys are not competing. Like, for whatever, they just like, you know what, I'm checked out. I'm making 30, 40 million a year. I'm done. And that's what's happening now in the NBA. And it's not even just the NBA, right? You're starting to see it in other sports, but at least like in football, there's an excuse, right? I mean, you get your head punched in, you don't have a guaranteed contract. But the NBA, you have a guaranteed money for your top guys. Like, for the most part, in other sports like baseball, hockey, and other sports, the star players they're not checking out. Like, they're really trying to play, even all-star guys. But in the NBA, it seems like that's the only sport, really, that the top guys constantly give little to no effort. And I say the last era of stars, like the last chunk of guys, was probably the end of Kobe's era, right? Like, Kobe Bryant was probably the last superstar to work hard on both sides of the ball. And I'm not a Kobe guy, okay? I'm not a Kobe guy. I think Kobe all time is slightly overrated, but I will acknowledge that Kobe was probably the hardest working player of his era, and which makes him and that's not really saying much, especially towards the end, because guys, I think a lot of the superstars kind of tailed off. They stopped trying after like probably 2010-ish, 2005. Like, it's almost like during this LeBron era, the superstars are really not. They really stopped, right? LeBron and his recruitment, they all want to just team up and stuff like that. The whole era has changed. The league has changed since like 2004. That's when things really started to like. But even teams still play defense, right? You had a couple teams at the Pistons. Eastern Conference teams would play defense. The West would just run and gun. And then you get into 2010s, that's when everything just went to shit for both sides. The West was still deeper and better, but it just went to shit. And then once LeBron got to the West, the whole league was just crap. It was just over. And I don't know. That's what I believe. I mean, let's see what Whitlock says here. I think he's going to talk about some solutions on what they can do to fix the NBA. But he's going to get to that at some point. I don't know. I don't want to play this whole clip because it's like 30 minutes long. I don't want to be here 30 minutes. And I don't have any timestamps. Let me see if I can find it so I can go right to it. Okay, let me see. Because he does talk, because he goes into LeBron and Bronny. I don't really want to get into that. But he was talking about, like, expanding the three-point line. Okay, here we go. It's about the 12-minute mark of this clip. Let me see, showcase. He talks about Adam Silver failing the NBA. Okay, right here. Let me see. We go to 10:40. Let's go to 10:40. Let's see, 10. Right there. He talks about Adam Silver failing the league and stuff like that. There we go.
Off Shaq. But this gimmick that we were witnessed last night, on top of just how rancid and uncompetitive the play was. Don't tell, Antonio Davis or Anthony Davis had 36 points and 16 rebounds. He was magical. Anybody can put up numbers, and I'm not saying he's not a talented player, but anybody can put up numbers in this uncompetitive league. Again, go look at the stats they put up during the All-Star game. Everybody's putting up 20, 30, 40 points because there's no defense play, no one cares, and they just stand around and jack up threes. There were 162 threes shot in 2 games last night. This is the showcase. Adam Silver has no qualifications for his job. This game is a joke. They should be the same way they said, hey, man, we got Michael Jordan and we're going to change up the rules a little bit to showcase Michael Jordan. Somebody has to recognize, hey, this hot garbage we're putting on the court and everybody just jacking up threes. You know what? We got to move the three-point line back, and if we have to widen the court.
So, moving the three-point line back, I actually like that idea. I think that's a solid one. That's something that's interesting. And I don't know, I think some people have mentioned that in the past. Also, widening the court. Now, I like it a little bit. I like it a little bit more than I would have maybe a year or two ago because, honestly, I hate that they keep changing the rules or changing the game to make it easier for these guys to score. And it's inflating the stats. So these guys are now breaking records and moving up all time. And then people really, oh, he's better because he has more points. Like, not considering the error and how easy it is to score today. Like, LeBron James is the all-time leading scorer because the error was so weak. He's not a better all-time scorer than Michael, than Kareem. Like, are you kidding me? Not a better all-time scorer than Larry Bird. I'm talking about a guy who can get a bucket anywhere on the basketball court. What is LeBron's? If I said I need you to get a bucket with 10 seconds in the fourth quarter, crunch time, I need you to get a bucket. Michael's getting that bucket. Larry Bird, Kareem. These guys are getting that bucket before LeBron. What does LeBron really have that would say he's the best scorer ever? He played longer. He played in a three-point stat inflated era. That's why he got the all-time record, and he's been in the league since 18. Good for him. He survived. He stayed healthy, which is part of basketball, part of sports is health. And for whatever reason, right? Other sports, they drug test, and you get caught. In the NBA, they're really not testing guys like that. I think LeBron is on Balco. He was in a Balco program. He was on something. He's on something probably now. That helped him stay longer. He's had the benefit of nutrition and the staff, which wasn't available back then for guys like Bird, who had back problems, and any of the other players that played in the 80s and 90s. So there's advantages that LeBron had, which allowed him to become the all-time leading scorer. But I wouldn't think for a second that he's the best scorer ever. And so, but in like moving, stretching the court out, moving the 3-point line, like I said, I'm a little open to it now, only if they also have to try to change the way they rule the records. Right? Like, there has to be a protection for those guys who played in the tougher eras. Like, that's why I don't think they should have rankings like 1 to 10. They should have tiers, right? So you have tier 1, the greatest players ever, the greatest ever, and then you have the greatest players. And then you rule it by that. So, because obviously Michael, some people don't even think Michael's the greatest. Some people will say Kareem. If you go ask Larry Bird fans, they'll say Bird. You go ask Kobe fans, they'll say Kobe. You ask LeBron fans, obviously they'll say LeBron. So depending on who there's really no, like, Michael Jordan is universally known as the greatest of all time. But they should have tiers, GOAT tiers, and have players on each tier. Tier 1 is the top one, tier 2, tier 3. You know, that's how I think they should start doing it, especially if they keep changing the rules. They change the rules and guys can score easily. Guys can put up threes like there's no tomorrow because there's no defense. You couldn't take 12 threes a game in 1989 or 90. Like, you wouldn't be allowed to. Like, are you kidding me? And then if a player did take that many shots on the team, they probably was losing. They probably was the only guy that could score. They probably was on a losing team that was winning like 12 games a year on a bad franchise. And he was able to shoot at will. Right? And the guys shot a lot. Like, Iverson shot a lot of shots at times, but he shot in like the low 40s because guys were guarding him. Even though he was quick, he can get by everybody. He still was in that 42, 43% shooting range. Kobe shot a lot of shots, and most of his career until that tail end of his career, where it was a lot easier for him to extend because of the lack of defense. He was hovering that 45, 44 range for most of his career. Jordan was in the high 40s, in the high 50, in the low 50s, right? He can get you as a jump shooter, and that's what's really separated Jordan's scoring ability from everyone else, was that he can, shoot jumpers and still be up in 50%. And while driving to the lane, I mean, 80s scoring was ridiculous. And he was going to the lane against big dogs. Like, guys today, I mean, there's no resistance in the paint today. You can literally go, you can walk into the lane and get. Like, if you played in a post, like the first guy who develops a post game and stays in the paint, he's going to be an all-star in his rookie year. A big comes out right now, as long as he has good feet work, right? Don't be like obviously slow, but have good feet work and a post move and hit a mid-range. That guy will be an all-star rookie year if a guy like that comes out. But the game has changed. Like, they want you to shoot threes, right? Cat, get behind the three-point line. Right? They want all the bigs now, 6'10", 6'11". Get behind the three-point line. Shoot threes. That's what we need. That's what everybody's doing. And guys don't mind doing that. If I can make $40 million a year, just shoot threes, don't have to worry about getting physical in the paint. By the time I get down and set up to play D, the ball's already been thrown up for a three on the other end. Instead of playing 90 feet, I only got to play 35, 40 feet a night now. I don't have to play the full court because teams the NBA has shrunk the court, right? This court is shrunk. It's from three-point line to three-point line. Now, that's what they're doing. So there's no more. You don't even have to waste energy. And you're doing that for only 30 minutes a night now instead of 35, 36, 37, 38 minutes like guys did back in the 90s. Where your star player played 39 minutes a night. He was not coming off the court unless he was really, really hurt. But your guys today, you can play 30 minutes a night and still get your numbers. Because the court has already shrunk. The court is shrunk. You're playing three-point line to three-point line. That's what everyone's playing. By the time I get back to the other line, the ball's already been thrown up for three. Rebound, I'm back to the other end, standing out, waiting for the shot, shoot a three. That's what we got going on. But it's interesting about this, like, expanding the court. I mean, that could be something they could probably experiment with, but I mean, Adam Silver, to be honest, he's and I talked about this a couple years back. He's took in what David Stern left him, and he's turned it into straight up shit. Yeah, guys are making a lot of money, and at the end of the day, that's what it's about. And fans, we need to understand, right, that the NBA is entertainment at the end of the day. It's no longer really about competitive nature. Those days are long gone. So you have to remind yourself, when you spend $200, $300 on a night out at an NBA game, on average, you got to understand you're going there to be entertained, and you're going to get whatever entertainment they provide. You're not getting competitive basketball no more. You're going to get nothing but three-point shooting and flops and crying to the referees. And that's it. If you're okay with that, fine. But otherwise, you can watch at home. We got League Pass. You got other revenues, other streams of areas where you can watch the games, and because the prices are going up. They're not going to go down no time soon. And the deals are getting bigger and bigger. The WNBA just got $2 billion contract. $2 billion to so they can reach a couple 100,000 people a night. Right? Unless Caitlin Clark plays, then they'll probably reach 1 million. But on average, those TV deals, they're not going to make close to that money they just invested. Unless that TV deal is only for Caitlin Clark games. Right? As of right now. Like, I don't know. Maybe next year another star will be big enough to garner that attention. But $2 billion over, what was it, 10, 11 years? So it's about $100 million a year, so roughly. So, or something like that. Some crazy number. I don't know exactly the exact number, but they these TV contracts, they overpaid, obviously, on something that they hope will get better in like the next 5 years across the league, not just when Clark plays. They're hoping that the numbers that Clark brought this year, every team can bring that on their own, at least within 5 years, so they can make a profit at the back end of that $2 billion investment. So guess what the NBA guys are going to get when their contract comes up in between that deal? You know, you just gave $2 billion to the WNBA. We're like 100 times better, right? That means we're going to want, shit, you gave $2 billion, we want $20 billion. We want $200 billion. Like that. So we're getting ready to pay, not we, because I don't pay shit. I'm not paying for that. But you hardcore fans that buy the jerseys and the tickets to the game, you're getting ready to pay up in the next 5 years, and the product is still shit. We think the NBA is going to be in 5 years. We're going to have a couple more teams probably in the league. They're going to expand. The play's not going to get better. You're going to be paying a crazy amount of money to go to these games. Even more than today's prices. Everything's going up. So you got to prepare yourself for that. You either got to say, you know what, fuck it, we'll watch at home, or I don't know what to tell you. It's going to be a shit show, folks. It's going to be a shit show.